actually haven't gotten into deep trouble, and I think I probably need to.
On Valentine's Day in college, I got a DUI and went to jail on Valentine's Day. And that was an interesting night. I was in a jail cell with 2 prostitutes. They carry knives, FYI. I know, so I got in some serious trouble. My parents picked me up in my Valentine's Day outfit, and they didn't scream at me, but I got in the car and they were, didn't say a word. After like 5 minutes driving home, they're like, "Are you okay?" It was more of like the disappointment trouble than the screaming you're grounded trouble. So yeah, that was the biggest trouble I've gotten in.
When I got pregnant, I wasn't married, and in my family and in the way that I was brought up, premarital sex is not acceptable, and my parents, I choose to believe this, my parents thought I was virgin up until I got pregnant last year. And so I think that was the biggest trouble I've ever been in. And I was a grown woman, 28 years old, and I still felt like, oh my God, my dad's gonna kill me.
In elementary school, this is probably around elementary school age, my dad had some silver dollars or stuff in a little tray on his desk, and I would steal some of those silver dollars and go to the toy store and buy some goodies and encourage one of my little neighbor kids to come up to the store with me. And we weren't supposed to do that, and I got caught for that, and I felt like my life was over. I felt really ashamed and humiliated, and so that seemed monumental at the time. That seemed like a pretty big deal. I can remember the little neighbor boy's parents coming over, and I had to wait outside while the parents had their little talk and their conference, and yeah, that was not good.
One time when I was little, there was this movie called Ice Age, and I was watching it, and they showed cave paintings on the wall. And I saw that part, so I thought I could do that on my wall, so I went and got a black crayon, and I walked over to my really shiny white wall and scribbled random things on the wall. I got in very, very big trouble.
I punched my best friend's sister in the face. She was a total bully, and she was like in my face, like she was in the front seat of the car and I was in the back, and like some traumatic high school drama was going on. She was turning around in my face like, "Oh, are you gonna cry? Yeah, go ahead and cry a little bit. That's what you always do, cry." And I was just like, "Ugh." Broke a blood vessel in her eye. It was not a good look. She ended up having to be a boxer for Halloween because her eye still hadn't healed. But yeah, no, I felt so bad. I haven't laid a hand on anyone since.
I do remember in 6th grade in school one day we were out at a recess or something, and don't even know why, but a couple of my friends and I thought it'd be really cool just to hear the sound of air coming out of the tires in the parking lot. So we were going around to the cars in the parking lot, letting air out of the tires, and I don't know how many times I had to write, "I will not let air out of tires," but I know I had a serious cramp in my hand from that one. Big trouble for me.
As a kid, I was a straight-up firebug. I mean, like, I love fireworks, I love matches, I love lighters, I loved, taking a 50-cent lighter, the little plastic ones, and throwing it down like a flight of steps and watching it go boom. Like, I like the explosions. Like, I like that kind of a thing. So, one day I was setting a fire by my building, and my building had a lot. And it was 2 cars, and it was like under a tree that I used to fall out of. And I'm back there literally trying to blow this car up. And I'm like lighting matches, like I got sticks of matches, and I'm putting them in the gas tank. And my friend, he's watching me, and he's like, so I run out of matches, and I'm like, "Keith, go get some more matches because I'm running out, and this isn't gonna happen." And he's like, "No problem." He goes upstairs and he tells my mother, and he's like, yeah, could you go speak to Mike? He's trying to blow up a car, and I don't want him to die. And so I'm still like trying to figure out a way to get this thing on. And I'm like, good, you came back with the matches. And I look at it's my mother, and she was like, boy, what are you doing? And I'm like, and I think she might have gave me a stiff jab or something. And so we go upstairs, and I'm in deep trouble. And she calls my father over, and she's calling phone, like just beefing. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm in trouble. She walks me to my grandmother's house, which is like a mile and a half in Queens, through the hood to my grandmother's house, and I'm just sitting there, and literally my father comes, and he didn't scream on me, but I was in the basement, and he was like, I don't ever spank you or anything, but do I need to start? And I was like, no. And he spoke to me for like 45 minutes, and I'm thinking like, yo, just hit me, man. Like, I'm standing up, he wouldn't let me sit down, he was talking, and I'm like, I should have just chose the beating, and so then he kind of slaps me on my leg, and I start crying, and he's like, listen, you're gonna have to start playing, we're gonna write I Will Not Play With Fire. And he hands me this book, and then I go upstairs, and I'm writing I Will Not Play With Fire over and over and over, and I try to do the whole line, and I like trying to make shortcuts, and he was like, no. And like as I'm writing this, my family, my uncles, my aunts, everybody's like, so you want to play with fire, huh? And like cracking all kinds of jokes, and I'm sitting here crying into my pad, and my pops is like, all right, let's go. And so I pack up the book, and we go into the car, and we start driving to the carnival. And I'm like, cool, like just that quick, I'm not in trouble anymore. He drives all the way to the carnival, and then he parks in a place where we can see it. And I'm like getting out, like, so are you gonna get me like the band, like on ride all the rides? He was like, oh, we're not going anywhere. You have more writing to do. And so I sat there and kept writing I Will Not Play With Fire while watching the local carnival, and my kids and my friends coming up. I'm like, yo, Mike, why can't you come out and get on the rides with us? And my father's like, he can't. And they're looking at me like, why? I was like, because I tried to blow up a car. And they're like, what? And they're like, they walked away just shaking their heads, and I just stood there writing I Will Not Play With Fire watching a carnival. So yeah, that was the worst. That's the first thing that comes to mind about trouble.